He is Samarjeet Singh. Samarjeet Singh is the founder of Iksula. Iksula is a one-name brand in e-commerce services. If you want e-commerce services, you cannot but come across Iksula. Let's say it's a company that has grown from strength to strength, irrespective of economic cycles in the last 10-15 years. So his story is very interesting to us. He has built this company without any external backing, so to say, which we read about with startups and all. So what has been the motivation to build an organic company, Samar? We deeply interested in venture capital, but
Tarun, actually, I've always looked at capital as one of the tools to build business and not the only tool to build the business. So when we decided that we're going to enter the services space, because I had built more businesses than before in the e-commerce space, and this time we decided to do services, I knew that this kind of a business doesn't require capital. In fact, you will be amazed that we built this business on a capital of around 5 lakh rupees, which all of us had. Right? Majority of the people can easily afford to put that much amount of capital. I think what such businesses require is a lot of opportunity cost. And it doesn't require cash capital, but it requires a lot of opportunity cost. If you ask me, and that was a big decision to take, to say whether, because I started this business after nearly spending 10 years setting up other businesses, which we sold, and then ended up working for the companies which we sold to, that kind of a stage. So the decision to say that now you will forego that opportunity cost for some period of time to build a business, I think that capital would be worth a few crores, but the cash capital was very limited. So I knew that what will I do with cash capital, because it's all about opportunity cost. So you can't take equity capital and give salary to yourself, which I was okay foregoing. So then, and this business didn't require too much of capital, it required more of opportunity capital. Second, we also realized that the kind of return venture fund would expect, such a business would not be able to generate that much of revenue in that duration of time. So then it would have become a hindrance rather than a support. So we said, no, we'll go the traditional way of bootstrapping and building this business, because it was helpful for the business. The business didn't require that level of risk capital. It required opportunity cost. So we said, we'll build it.
So also, as in the tradition, services businesses do not attract venture capital, and product businesses are the ones that are the flavor with venture capital firms, so to say. Is that also a reason, so to say?
I would say that it is not. It doesn't seem to be a flavor. I think venture funds have their own expectation of IRR, which is the internal rate of return. That return can only be delivered by a business which scales up in a very short duration of time, because if you employed X capital, and how quickly the business scales up, and it also, that kind of return can only come from businesses which have very high profitability as percentage of revenue. So keeping those two things in mind, I think you will see that VCs have a preference for businesses which have very high growth rates and very high profitability, and those businesses seem to be following the product business models, then services business model. Service business model is a traditional way of building a business. It takes time, but once it goes up, it's a very stable business. I don't know if you look at India's stock market today, the top 3 companies by valuation are HDFC Bank, CCS, TCS is a services company, and it's $100 billion plus valuation.
And so, Samarjeet, one thing that struck me when I was going through the Glassdoor, Iksula, I was just thinking about the fact that private sector as a career option seems to have metamorphosed in a very different way than we thought 10 years ago or 7 years ago. when there were recession, there used to be job cuts. And we used to understand that, okay, an employee used to understand that, fine, these are bad times. As soon as the economy picks up, companies are profitable again, will again be employed.
Correct.
But now we've seen mass firings across the world, and firings are by very profitable companies. And so let's say for a lot of people, employees are a very low in the pecking order of stakeholders and stuff like that. But in your case, you're a company that is favored by employees. I mean, you enjoy one of the best ratings. So how do you see this scenario panning out? Do you think the private sector job compared to a government job or an entrepreneurship, is it still an option? What do you think?
No, I would say that I think if you look at the global stats, majority of the people would be employed in private sector jobs only. So it's a great option in that respect. But to get back to your question of what is happening and how private companies of late have asked a lot of people to go. I personally think that whether it is a government job, I would say government. Let's compare government and private first. The goals of a private enterprise and government are very, very different. Government is in the business, if I can use that word, in the business of social welfare. It's in the business of serving its citizens. So there's no profit motive there.
But there are incentives.
Yes, but they are supposed to be serving the citizens, and so if you will see that when you discuss a government enterprise, it is never, the discussion is not around profits. The discussion is around efficiency. So that how can that government enterprise deliver the service to its citizen in an efficient manner? And we know the reasons why efficiencies are challenged. Whereas if you look at private entities have, I would say, the key stakeholders are the stakeholders of the company, whether they are external investors or they're promoters or all of that. And the primary goal those businesses are set up is to maximize the returns on the capital invested. Right? So if you look at the motive of that entrepreneur or a CEO is to maximize that shareholder return. And I've seen that majority of all the companies in a private space are focused in that direction and should be focused on that direction. And I will say that the other part of the stakeholder in an enterprise is technically the employees. I would say customers and then also employees, not in any of order. I would say we can place, I would say it should be equal pegging, stakeholders, customers and employees. I think that if an organization makes its agenda that they will not maximize one stakeholder return at the expense of another stakeholder, then they are able to do a better job of potentially satisfying all stakeholders.
That's really.
And if the thinking is,
how does it work in operation? Like when you try to, when you've been successful in all of these three stakeholders, you have the best customers on your list, you have the best returns, you've clocked in revenues top notch, and then you have very satisfied employees. So in operation, is there a moment you can think about that? Yes, this is what makes you successful at it.
So I think your example. So have we had to take a call in the last 12-13 years where we had to let few people go? Yes, we have. Right, we have. So it is because it finally comes down to making those choices, and we have, and very, very sad moment, but they have come in our journey also, and we have let those people go. And I'm very sure that nobody likes to take those calls, and nobody likes to take that call on themselves if you're an employee, right? But I think what we realized is that if you are extremely transparent and open about why such a thing is happening, and do not hide behind in such a situation, I think all people are very reasonable, and they sit across, discuss with you, and they understand why it is happening. is, I would say, communication is the key here. And the second one is also the culture within the company, where if the person who unfortunately has come to a stance where it happened because of lack of business or or market or situation that a person has lost a job, but believes in the culture of the company, that this company carries a strong value system, a strong culture, and if this situation has come, it has only happened because nothing else was possible, then people are ready to give you a chance, right? You can't say 100% satisfaction, but the endeavor is to maximize all three stakeholders.
Yeah, it's a never-ending. It's a goalpost one can't reach.
Right? But I think that doesn't mean that your endeavor every day should not be to maximize it. Right? So I think it's like running on a treadmill, but trying to be far better, faster, but still on the treadmill.
So coming to one of the important aspects, like you serve the e-commerce needs of the best companies in the world. Which are these companies? Or B is now post-pandemic, even the common man, the common retailer is very interested in setting up an online business, and he always gets his website wrong. He does not know what to do beyond posting something on Amazon maybe. What are your tips for them? And how do you, where do you see the common retailer going wrong nowadays?
Okay. Actually, our core business works with very large enterprises. So our customers include Walmart, Home Depot, Reliance Retail, Alpha 10 groups, and those are the examples. So the learnings from them would not be relevant for the small retailers. But I interact a lot with them, so I have a thought there. So I would say that pandemic as a boom has been a boom for small entrepreneurs also. If you see pandemic to say that, oh, the number of people coming to my retail stores have dropped, then you see it negatively. But if you see technology and pervasiveness of technology, so I'll give you an example. So let's say if you were making dolls sitting in Shillong, and you were making a particular kind of dolls, right? Your audience was either people who knew you in Shillong or people who were tourists coming there and were told by somebody that they should visit your shop. But with this advent of, I call it hyper communication through social media and all of that, today if you have a great product and a great story, the story travels across the world in minutes, I would say in seconds, right? So for a question on medium and small producer, creator, retailer, I think if they were catering to a community in Shillong, now that community is sitting all across the world. So it is now left to these creators, retailers, small people who have like core skill in one or the other space to use that and how to communicate it across the globe. And tomorrow you have a customer from San Francisco to Dubai to Abu Dhabi to...
Does digital marketing work for them? Like, lots of people are using digital marketing of various sorts. And one school of thought is you build it, people will come. And you post yourself, you post your products or services online. And if you are right, whoever is meant for you will come. Correct. The other thing is that, okay, if we push your product through digital marketing, push your push through the whatever, the clickbaits and everything. What works? What do you think? Does it work? Digital marketing? Is it?
Yeah, I would say that whatever has happened in the technology space and the global acceptance of social media and hyper-connected world, but the fundamental principles of building a business have still remained the same, right? So we all have studied the 4 P's of marketing. So your product has to work. So we come and we go back to your question. You have a bad product, no digital, nothing can help you, right? Pricing needs to be correct. What the other 2 elements of promotion in place is where a medium comes into play, right? So you make a bad product and bad pricing, no digital marketing, no retail can help you, right? First, that is a core, right? So I call it the supply side. You don't make good dolls, nobody buys it. It's as simple and clear as that. You price them wrong, nobody will buy it, right? And then at the end, consumer samjhanta hai, right? That's the truth. Now comes down to the medium. Now, it's very similar to saying when you opened a shop in Shillong, you did something to get people to your shop, right? So either you did flyers or you did put up a microphone or you did whatever, right? Or you spread a message in the temple because your community came to know about it and they told somebody else. What you will see in digital marketing is Iksula. But the community is global. And the tools of a loudspeaker are either a Facebook or an Instagram or a Google, depending upon what kind of. Google is a very searchable media, so there has to be an intent to search before you will find the doll. And whereas Instagram is a very visual medium. So I would say, if your product is good, your pricing is right, you need to know how to market yourself. Then your question has two elements. How do you learn to market yourself on this new media? So previously you made a flyer, now you make an Insta reel, you make a Facebook post. Now this is not paid side of the marketing. So there again, if the quality of your Insta reel and the entertainment value of that Insta reel or the educational value of that Insta reel is smart, you would not need to spend on paying to the Instagram for boosting your this thing. If it is not there, some bit of boosting would require, like the way you did. If somebody was doing it in Shillong, they would have paid for the flyers. They would have also paid for a microphone. Now you're paying Instagram, doing that. So I would say the fundamentals remain the same. Product has to be good. Pricing has to be good. Your thought on marketing has to be good. So I would say the new age, small or medium-sized retailer needs to also think a little bit of marketing. And I would say that the quality of thinking comes from how sharply you understand your consumer. Who's my consumer? And then rest of the things has to be fun, and then diligence to do that, discipline to do that. Those are fundamentals. Whether you pre-digital,
How many businesses have you built? See, Samarjeet is a quietly iconic entrepreneur in Bombay. We don't see him in posters about startup founders and stuff like that. But his body of work speaks for itself. Today, in this interview, we can capture exactly how many businesses you have built and co-built.
Okay, that is. So then, before Iksula, I was involved in one. I had built 5 businesses before that. Before starting Iksula, and while we have built Iksula, now we are currently building 3 more businesses in that respect. So all put together 8-10 businesses. We've exited out of 10. We are running around 4. We exited 4, and we couldn't run. We had to shut down. One is part of the deal. Yeah, it's part of the deal, right? So that's what we're doing. What I'm currently doing, Tarun, is that in fact, let me tell you my entrepreneurial framework. So I've seen that there are 2 ways you can build a business. One is what I call it is a moat-based thinking. जैसे हिंदी में बोलेंगे मुझे क्या आता है या मैं क्या अच्छा करता हूँ, अब इसके आसपास what can we do, right? So when you don't have too much capital, you think like that. Right? And in the last 10 years, I built businesses like that. So I knew e-com, I knew the industry, we knew e-com technology, we knew e-com services, we knew e-com marketing. So that was a capability. Now we said, how do we take this capability, put up a little bit of capital, a lot of risk, and take this to customers. So that is one way I have built businesses, and I'm still continuing to build businesses. So apart from Iksula, we've invested and created more businesses in the e-commerce marketing space. We are creating more businesses in the e-commerce analytics space. So that way of building business will continue, because you can say that now I know that how to do that really well because I've done it so many times. But the other way to build business is to not think what you know, is to say what the customer wants. What does the customer want? What is it? What is changing in his mind?
To be basically a diversified business where what the customer wants decides what you end up making.
Yeah.
Because now you have the customer base, you have the...
We have some bit of leverage to put capital and create a business where the returns may take a little bit of time to come.
One question, you are a new age businessman, last 15 years you've done businesses. The traditional businesses, so to say, in India, they flourished mostly because of political patronage, kickbacks. So that gave rise to a different style of being a promoter. Like, you require a certain skill base to be a promoter of that type. Now, in this sort of tech era, you don't have to directly engage with the political patrons. And in such a scenario, who are your favorite founders that you have dealt with in the last 10-15 years, who you feel that, yes, they bring a certain fresh energy to the business ecosystem?
I would say, I would not put it in the traditional versus non-traditional bucket. I would say that certain businesses have no other option except to deal with the government machinery. So let's say if you're in infrastructure space, you have to manage the system. You are in public utility space. You run an electricity company, or you run a telecom. You're a telecom.
And these are all important businesses because people require these services.
These are businesses which require. You have no other option, because if you have to put up a tower, you have to get a land, making airport, you're running ports. So I would say that those kind of businesses have a different revenue model. Have a very strong government, political class, and an entrepreneur interaction. So, and I would actually classify that as a skill, a capability which you need to have if you need to get into that business. So I do not come from that kind of a background, so I neither had this capability, neither any experience. So you can say it was a limitation to not start any business in that space. And majority of these businesses are extremely capital intensive. So that was also a limitation in that respect. The other side is businesses which are potentially getting created on the power of ideas or the power of a significant technical or any kind of capability which you can leverage, which is where the word I come from. So obviously my heroes are also come from that space. Narayan Murthy is a great hero in that space. What he's done for the services industry is fantastic. But if you now look at the other side, I think Dhirubhai Ambani is a great example. It's a great example. If somebody wants to build businesses on the other side, where you should have him as an idol. But if you're building a business in the idea, information technology or capability kind of a space, I think Narayan Murthy is a great example. And nowadays there's so many more examples which have built sustainable businesses which have scaled up. They're sustainable. They've created tremendous wealth for their shareholders. It has created tremendous wealth for their employees, and also created tremendous wealth for the promoters. I would actually go in the same sequence. And that's a very holistic success which these businesses deliver. So I would say Narayan Murthy is a great example I followed. Globally, I think Jeff Bezos is a great example. I've always idolized Steve Jobs, ideas person, and created tremendous impact in the way they have impacted the world.
So this can be a very endless conversation. Samarjeet is a very popular speaker, and as you can see, every 3 sentences he has a new idea to ponder over. So Samarjeet, as we sort of wrap up the conversation, what are some of the, what was that one breakthrough moment in your life where you felt that, yes, now I have arrived, not arrived, then when you understood that, yes, now I arrive one day,
Sorry, you have to repeat the question. I didn't get it.
Was there any breakthrough moment in your journey when you felt that, yes, this is the tipping point, from here I'm going to be somebody?
Actually, Tarun, and I'm not trying to be modest to say this, but actually once you get in the journey of trying to create something, I think you also start exploring yourself very deeply, right? So I would say that the scale and the success has, whatever little success or scale we have received, has given me the confidence that, we think okay, I think okay, we seem to be disciplined about executing it, and our thoughts, ideas, our value system, our execution seems to be delivering results. So you can say it's a case study which reinforces your belief that you can also do it. So if you ask me, say that what is the best thing I've achieved in this journey, I think I'm far more confident than from where I started from. So, and I think I would count the biggest achievement is that confidence. The confidence of being there, done it, been through the journey inch by inch, day by day, minute by minute, and taking actions. A lot of them went wrong, a lot of them went right, and in totality, it added up to being right. Is what I would say is what I've achieved, and this is what gives me happiness or confidence to say, we tried, we gathered courage, we took risk, we remained true to our value system, we remained true to the commitment we made to the business, to our people, and that has resulted in this, in where we are today. And I would say the future also works on the same principle, saying, since you were at, and I'm just defining it, you were at your capability, your confidence, your beliefs were at 10, now they are at 50. But it also gives you a confidence saying that because now they have reached 50, it can further go up. You can create more value, you can create more opportunities, you can explore yourself better, you can explore more ideas, you can explore more execution. And this is coming from, I would actually say that my biggest reason for entrepreneurship has been a belief. My belief has been that the more you put yourself into more challenging situations and have a conviction and belief to come out on the other side, it improves you as a human being. Because you discover yourself, you discover your weaknesses, you discover your dichotomies, your apprehensions, and in such situations you have no option other than to overcome.
But you learn fast.
To learn fast and overcome them. And that's the beauty. If I will say, if anything has got achieved, it has moved a notch up. And I would like to further move on because it's only one life.
I want to end with two questions. One is, any last words for the government, for youngsters, or for fellow entrepreneurs? Before that, I want to ask you one question as we are talking about learning and putting yourself into a very challenging situation. How do you overcome the hesitation to the hesitation to take an initiative? Whenever you've started a business, there must have been a moment that, I want to do this, I want to start this, I want to get this on the ground, and you're still hesitating to take that step. Okay. So how do you challenge yourself to start off a business?
Actually, I have I've really thought about it. I personally think that nobody knows that whatever idea, initiative, or the business they want to set up will succeed or not succeed. And if somebody is telling you that they knew it before, take it with a pinch of salt, right? Nobody knows, right? So that's my first premises. So the person who takes that initiative is, I would say, that so-called entrepreneur is an eternal optimist. and I would say we turn on optimism to a level of being stupid. That's the way it is. So that's a weakness in a way, and but it's a lot of strength when you are hopping on a journey. So a belief that we will figure out a way is the belief which makes the person take that step in spite of knowing that they don't know the
future.
They don't know the future. They don't know the end goal. So I would say that's the only thing you need to say. Believe. I would say believe in your belief. Believe in your beliefs is what pushes you to take that decision.
Any last words, Samarjeet, for anybody, for young job seekers, or for entrepreneurs, or for the larger stakeholders, for governments?
This has been my belief, and I'm trying to work on it. And whenever I get an opportunity to speak to young kids or at college, I try to tell this. I would say the world has moved too much towards discussing what and how, whether it is a job, or it is a government, or it is an entrepreneur. Everybody is interested in what to do, how to do it, how do I make money. I think the core to happiness and success in either a business or a government job or a job is why. My only message would be, whether you are trying to pick up a job, or if you are a government officer trying to make a policy, or you're an entrepreneur, try to figure out your why. And everybody's whys are different. Because once why is figured out, after that the journey moves in a very different stratosphere, and moves to a different level. And there is a sense of unison in your thoughts, in your action, in the way you conduct yourself. And that's a very far different life as an entrepreneur or as an employee.